Hello everyone, it's me again. Today I will recap the movie, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. This is the best installment of the two Amazing Spider-Man movies. The movie begins with a scene where Richard Parker hurriedly gathers all his research documents and destroys all his spiders. He even records a video recounting everything, then sends Peter to Uncle Ben's family, and hastily leaves on a plane. Richard and his wife try to hold back their tears, because they miss their little son. At this moment, the co-pilot enters to ask something. Richard notices pilot's arm is covered in blood, and he pulls out a gun to threaten, intending to kill Richard and take the documents. Mary slams the door open, distracting him, and Richard takes the opportunity to attack. Mary hits him with a bottle, causing him to pull the trigger and shoot her. Enraged, Richard kicks him until he passes out. He takes the gun, and then helps his wife sit up. He opens the computer to download the documents, not expecting the pilot to regain consciousness. He stands up and sneaks up to attack Richard. The plane had no pilot, so it crashed to the ground. Richard looks at his wife and chooses to shoot at the glass door. The glass door shatters, the plane sways, the propeller explodes, and the assassin is blown out by the wind. Richard sees his wife is gone, so he decides to stay by her side. Back in the present, Spider-Man is now known throughout the city as an indispensable hero in the hearts of the people. Meanwhile, a truck carrying Oscorp's Motoyum is temporarily hijacked by robbers. The criminal drives the truck over a police car, and his accomplices drill a hole to get inside and steal it. This radioactive substance is considered very valuable. Spider-Man hears the police siren and swings over. He asks Alexei if he needs help. Alexei immediately picks up a gun and shoots. Seeing that the robber is busy, Spider-Man helps drive. The truck continues moving, destroying the cars blocking its way. Spider-Man also saves a man named Max. Peter picks up some pieces of paper on the ground for him and reassures him that he is a valuable person who will do great things in the future. After saying that, he strokes Max's hair and swings away. Alexei brakes hard, causing several of his henchmen to fall. The police cars crash into each other, piling up. The two robbers take out their guns and shoot at the police. Then Peter appears, and both robbers are left hanging in the air. He rushes inside, picks up the Motoyum bars, but one of them flies out of the car, so he rushes out to retrieve it. Unfortunately, he is hit by a police car. He hangs the Motoyum on an electric pole, then runs to catch the robber. At this moment, Gwen calls to ask why he hasn't come to the graduation ceremony. Spider-Man jumps on top of the car, saying that he has urgent business, and asks the robber to turn himself in. But the robber doesn't care and drives straight, flipping the bus over. Luckily, Spider-Man supports the bus. The robber opens fire, wanting to kill Spider-Man, but in the end, he is left pantless in the middle of the street. Then Spider-Man rushes to the graduation ceremony, almost being discovered. Peter receives his diploma and kisses Gwen in front of the whole school. Aunt May is very proud and wishes Uncle Ben could see his nephew grow up too. Gwen invites Peter to dinner with her family. The two are chatting happily when Peter sees the figure of the captain, his girlfriend's father, standing behind her. That look reminds him of the promise he made when her father passed away, asking him to leave Gwen to protect her. That night, Gwen's family had a happy dinner together. She saw Peter standing outside the glass door, and she knew at a glance that he was tormented by his father's words. Seeing that her lover had no energy, she decided to break up early to ease her suffering. In the following days, Peter decided to focus on catching criminals, to forget about being abandoned by his lover. He also protected a boy who was being bullied by his friends. However, the more Peter pursued criminals, the more people divided into two factions, making harsh comments. One faction believed there should be more heroic Spider-Men, while the other thought that Spider-Man had no right to interfere in other people's business. However, the more he tried to forget, the more he missed her. Spider-Man secretly peeked at Gwen to see if she was with another man. He discovered that there was a fire nearby. As soon as he got home, Aunt May knocked on the door, so he had to crawl under the covers, pretending to have just woken up, and even made excuses that he wasn't wearing any clothes, so he couldn't go out. But his dirty face betrayed him. Peter made an excuse that he had just cleaned the chimney, but Aunt May reminded him that their house didn't have a chimney. Peter saw his father's briefcase, and childhood memories suddenly flooded back, picturing a happy family of 3. Back in the present, he threw the briefcase into the closet. Outside, Aunt May was looking for more work to take care of her nephew. Peter wanted to do the laundry himself, but Aunt May stopped him, because she had been doing the laundry since he was 6 years old. Elsewhere, Max had become a fanatic of Spider-Man. His house was decorated with Spider-Man pictures everywhere. He took out a cake and wished himself a happy birthday. While he was having fun, The electricity went out in his room. The next morning, he was scolded by his boss for being late to work. He boasted that he had designed all the city's infrastructure. The boss said, "If you say that, then I must be Spider-Man." The statement touched on the idol, making Max imagine a fight with the boss. At the elevator, he helped Gwen open the door. Seeing the beautiful woman next to him, he immediately stroked his hair to fix his appearance. The Spider-Man idol appeared on TV again, making him extremely emotional. He said that there were 7 billion people in the world, but the idol only saved him. Gwen forced a smile, greeted him, and left immediately. In another development, Harry, the only son of Norman Osborn, returned home to visit his terminally ill father. He told his son about the genetic disease, like a curse that corroded the life of the Osborn family. He gave Harry a hard drive, containing his life's research, hoping that his son could escape the terrible disease. At this time, Peter was posting about the heroic Spider-Man when he accidentally saw the news that Norman Osborn had passed away. Harry would be the successor to the Oscorp Corporation. Meanwhile, everyone was allowed to take the elevator, but Max was left behind, forced to check the electrical short circuit. Too angry to do anything, he went down to the first floor to observe. Seeing the electric wire fall out, Max wanted to prove his skills to his idol. However, he was electrocuted and fell into the electric eel tank. In no time, he was grilled to a crisp by the eels. The eel tank could not withstand the energy and exploded. Harry followed in his father's footsteps, becoming the chairman of the board and usurping the authority of the entire council. He recruited a beautiful girl named Felicia as his personal secretary. Peter also came to pay his respects to his best friend, but Harry pretended not to remember who Peter was. Seeing Spider-Man leave in surprise, he burst out laughing. In fact, Harry was just teasing his best friend. The two of them walked along the riverbank together, reminiscing about the past. Peter also admitted that he had a girlfriend, but had just broken up. She was currently Harry's employee. Peter showed off his super cool stone throwing skills to Harry. He had no idea that he was being followed by a car from afar. The scheming vice president covered up Max's death, as if it had never happened. At the warehouse, the lights kept flashing. Max's body was burned, then convulsed continuously, and then came back to life. As soon as he woke up, he had the ability to control all objects with electricity. His whole body was transformed into a monster. That night, Gwen asked Peter to meet her. She said it was time for them to be friends. Peter agreed, with a few rules. She had to change her laugh, because every time she laughed, his heart almost collapsed. She also asked Peter to stop complimenting her beauty. Then the two walked down the street together. While talking, she realized that Peter was always following her. He confessed that it was the only way he could be with her. Tears began. Gwen said she was going to study in England. They were about to kiss when Peter sensed danger. When she turned around, only his shoes were left. Max went to draw energy from a car light and realized that the city ahead had a lot of energy. He went to the center and saw a stream of people rushing. Below was an endless stream of electricity, making him want to take it. A policeman saw the foolish prank, raised his gun to warn him. The blue monster looked at the policeman. A car drove up, and he caught it with his hand and threw it aside. The people panicked, ran away, while the police and militia soon surrounded him. Max saw his picture everywhere. He felt that he had suddenly become famous. The police threw smoke grenades at him. He swung his arm, make the electricity exploded, people and cars flying away. Spider-Man caught the car in time, saving the policeman. Meanwhile, the police kept shooting at Max. Spider-Man jumped onto a car, greeting Max. He had just met his idol, and was extremely excited to greet him. Peter also remembered this guy but couldn't recall his name. At that moment, a policeman lying in ambush nearby shot at Max. He went crazy, swung his arm, and killed policeman. Spider-Man tried to stop him but was also shot into the car by the electricity, damaging the web shooter. The sign fell down, and very quickly, Peter saved persons from death. The people cheered and applauded Spider-Man. Everywhere, cameras turned to Peter. Max got crazier when he was forgotten by everyone. He immediately slammed his hand on the ground, shooting lightning at Spider-Man. This electricity also spread to the nearby metal bars. Spider-Man shot webs, blocking the car from hitting the people, and also pulled people away from the iron bars. The more the people cheered for Spider-Man, the more jealous the Electric Man became. Peter hooked the web to a stake, sent him flying high, and Peter was also struck back by the lightning. Max plugged the cable into his body, sucked all the electricity from the entire city, and then launched a devastating attack. He floated like a powerful god, just waving his hand to shoot out lightning. Electric shock will kill people. But Spider-Man sprayed water, causing him to lose power. He high-fived the firefighters to thank them. Back home, he immediately upgraded his web shooter. he needed a battery that could handle a large amount of electricity. However, the result was always a burnt mess. Meanwhile, Harry accidentally dropped the hard drive on the table and discovered its secret. It turned out that his father had a whole arsenal, including modern flying armor. There was also a video of Harry's father and Richard researching genetic mutations together. Harry immediately called Peter to come to his house. Then, he showed Peter the footage he found. He confirmed that Spider-Man was proof of their success. He said he needed Spider-Man's blood to save his life. Peter was afraid that his best friend would turn into Dr. Lizard, and said he only took pictures of Spider-Man and knew nothing about him. Harry hugged Peter, begging him to save him. Peter said he would try asking Spider-Man. Gwen accessed the Oscorp computer, looking for data on Max. She did not find the data. Not only that, it caused the security guards to come to arrest her. She accidentally bumped into Peter and pulled him into a room to avoid the security guards. Gwen said she knew that Electroman used to work there, but all his information was erased by Oscorp. After a few sentences, Peter kissed her. He blocked the way of the security guards, allowing her to escape. She entered the elevator, was greeted unexpectedly by Harry. She was diffident. At the mental hospital, Max was held in a water tank, used as a test subject for Oscorp. A crazy doctor said he came to treat Max, although he was Electro, but Max was electrocuted and almost fainted. Max called himself Electro, vowing to destroy and burn the place down. While making his eloquent declaration, he was pushed back into the water tank. On this side, Aunt May told Peter about his parents. 2 days after the funeral, the government came to them, claiming that Peter's father had stolen the research and fled out of greed. But Aunt May believed that Richard was a good person and would never do such a thing. Peter was heartbroken, wondering if it was true. He went to Harry's house under the guise of being Peter Parker's friend. Harry was extremely happy because he thought he was about to be saved. However, when he heard that Spider-Man refused to donate blood, Harry immediately offered any price to persuade Spider-Man. Despite this, he did not receive consent, so he became angry with the hero. Peter went down to Gwen's place, where she was preparing for her study abroad interview. No matter what he said, it was too late. Peter could only wish her luck. When he got home, he threw everything around in frustration and accidentally discovered a pile of coins inside his father's computer. He immediately looked them up online and found out that they came from Roosevelt Station. Meanwhile, Felicia came to tell Harry that the company still had some samples of Spider-Man's serum hidden, and the hiding place was called Special Project. He used his father's device to access Special Project. He reviewed all the recent experiments of the project and discovered that Max's accident had created the Electric Man. Suddenly, his account was revoked. The deputy director, Donald, immediately led the security team to question Harry. He said that sooner or later, he would die like his father, and then announced that Harry would be fired from the company. On this side, Peter sneaked to the long-abandoned train station. He took the coin, put it in a box, and then kicked the wall. Behind him, the rails suddenly cracked and smoke rose, revealing a train car. This was Dr. Richard Parker's office. The computer displayed the message, "Download successful." He opened the file and saw his father personally recounting the story of the past. Norman Osborn himself collaborated with the government to produce biological weapons. As soon as they learned about this, they framed him. Richard was the one who implanted his DNA into the spiders, so only his bloodline could be successfully tested. He loved Peter very much and wanted his son to be safe, so he decided to escape. At the same time, Harry arrived at the prison and attacked 2 security guards. He then ran to negotiate with Max about the plan to kill Spider-Man. Max agreed, on the condition that he would have the power source of the whole city. The perverted doctor saw someone breaking in and immediately led his men to capture Harry. In desperation, Harry charged the battery, freeing him. Electro used electricity to roast the security guards. Then he condensed with electric rays in the air, locking the doctor in a glass cage to take revenge. Peter left the train station and received a message from Gwen. She was on her way to the airport to avoid him. At the Oscorp headquarters, all the surveillance equipment was flicker. Electro killed a bodyguard. Donald stood up in panic. Harry appeared and demanded that Donald give him the serum. After escorting Donald away, he said that Max now had the right to enjoy all the city's electricity. Harry forced him to take him to the secret room. This place contained warrior armors and also Spider-Man's serum. After the injection, because Harry was not of the Parker family line, it backfired. Very quickly, he turned into a monster. Harry was extremely excited, wearing his father's flying suit. Meanwhile, Spider-Man used his web to form the words, "I love you," then hugged Gwen and flew to the top of the bridge. he decided to be with her forever. Therefore, he would also study abroad in England with her. After speaking, the two kissed passionately. At this time, the entire city suddenly lost power. Electro was behind all of this. A plane was moving extremely fast, heading towards the landing site, but due to the power outage, they could not locate the radar. Another plane was taking off in the opposite direction. There were only 2 minutes left before the two planes collided. Gwen suggested to him to upgrade the web shooter into a magnet. The two of them climbed down, borrowed the policeman's copper wire and battery, and successfully created a super web shooter. But at this time, lightning bolts were continuously bombarding the city. This power could be said to be comparable to the god of thunder. Spider-Man was not defeated. He shot spider webs to chase after Max's magnetic beam. He climbed up a building, facing the evil man, Max, who claimed to be the supreme god. As soon as Max finished speaking, Spider-Man called him crazy. Spider-Man avoided his attack, then broke a water pipe to counterattack. This time, Max was alert and dodged lightly. Max launched countless bolts of lightning, trying to burn he. But he used his spider web to somersault, skillfully avoiding the bolts of lightning. The two faced each other and fell to the ground. Electro sprayed electric bolts at Peter's face, but Peter kicked him away. Electro went crazy, swinging his hand to strike the lightning bolts on the spider web, trying to destroy the web shooter, but this move was too predictable. He pulled the string, knocking Electro down. Electro wasn't dead. He entered the copper pillars and sneaked up on Peter. He pulled Spider-Man into the air, intending to tear him apart. Spider-Man struggled, but was tightly bound by the bolts of lightning. At the moment of his greatest joy, Electro was hit by a car and was thrown far away. Gwen arrived just in time, saving Peter from death. Electro used electricity to revive himself, so the two decided to use electricity to destroy him. As soon as Gwen left, Peter saw the figure of Max rushing straight towards him, wanting to take his life. Lightning seemed to tear the void apart, striking Peter directly. He nimbly dodged the lightning strikes. A series of copper pillars were broken by the electric shock. Gwen went to the control room, preparing to restart the system. By this time, he had lured Electro closer to the center of the factory. He shot spider webs to lock Max's body, then used the webs as cables, intending to connect the electric circuit. Electro escaped the webs and immediately struck lightning straight at Peter. Despite the pain, Peter tried his best to connect the webs. Then, he signaled Gwen to turn on the switch to restart the system. The power of the electric source was activated, sending Peter flying to the ground. This power was like a stream of fire, rushing straight towards Electro. His body's electricity became overloaded, and his body gradually cracked. A loud bang rang out, and the entire city regained electricity. The control center promptly sent a signal to two planes to avoid collision. Spider-Man stand up from the dust, thinking that everything was over. Unexpectedly, something strange flew over from the sky, his friend Harry, now a monster. As soon as he saw Gwen, he guessed that Spider-Man was Peter. He thought Peter had betrayed him, giving him hope and then taking it away. He declared that he would take away what Peter loved the most. Then he swooped down and caught Gwen. Peter shot spiderwebs and followed closely behind him. Harry swooped to the top of a building, then coldly dropped her and threw a grenade at the couple. Peter used spiderwebs to lower her safely. Harry flew straight down, fighting fiercely with Spider-Man. He relied on his wings and was extremely vicious, but Peter still knocked him down. The glider crashed near Gwen, and Peter shot a web, pulling her out of danger. He, taking advantage of Peter's distraction, immediately attacked. But not long after, Peter used the web to restrain him. He used his foot to block the gears, preventing the web from breaking. The watch couldn't bear the pressure, the wheel was squeezed, and the cable broke. Then the watch shattered. Harry fell to the side and fainted, while Gwen fell straight down below. Her eyes did not leave him. Peter jumped at full speed, shooting a powerful web. This web took the form of a hand, reaching through countless gears to grab her. Peter grabbed an iron bar in time to lift her away from the ground, and he dived straight down from above. Peter held her, calling her name, but she could not respond. Blood began to flow from her nose. Peter was in great pain, holding his lover and crying. A few days later, everyone held a funeral for Gwen. After everyone left, Peter stood alone by her grave. Perhaps the one who lost the most was Peter. He had been by her grave all this time, from when the snow fell until the autumn leaves fell. At this time, a mysterious person came to visit Harry. He said that Spider-Man had disappeared for a while. Harry gave him the Oscorp arsenal to use freely. On the radio, it was announced that the bald criminal had escaped from prison, and people realized the importance of Spider-Man. Seeing her nephew in pain and torment, Aunt May said that she also put away Uncle Ben's things, because not seeing will not hurt. He went upstairs and opened Gwen's graduation speech again. No matter how hard it is for you, how heartbroken and desperate you are, promise me you will not give up hope. The happy memories of the two of them suddenly came flooding back. He decided that he could not let himself be like this forever. So he took out his Spider-Man mask and thought about his original purpose. Outside, the criminal was robbing a bank. He had a rhinoceros armor, swaggering on the street, and even fiercely shooting at the police. The people were both curious and scared. A boy dressed in a Spider-Man costume ran out and stood opposite him. He was wearing a mask and stood exactly like his idol. The criminal was extremely excited, teasing the boy, but suddenly his face changed color. The real Spider-Man was standing behind the boy. He clapped his hands and invited the boy off the stage. Peter took the megaphone, in the name of the people of New York and the real rhinos, told him to raise his hands and surrender. The criminal growled and screamed. He ran on all fours to attack Spider-Man. He said nothing, flew up and swung the manhole cover, then take him down. The movie ended here. The person Peter loved the most was gone forever. Perhaps this was the biggest loss that haunted his entire life. But Spider-Man chose to stand up against evil, sacrificing his own happiness, so that the people could be happy. Thank you very much for your support, so that the channel can develop like today. If you find it interesting, please give me a like and a comment about this movie. Especially, please subscribe to the channel to follow my movie recap. See you again, my dear friends.